Alright, welcome back everybody. This is race 7 of the International Racing Series GT4 Championship. We're at the Red Bull Ring in wet conditions today. Let's bring up the telemetry for y'all so you can see what's going on this week. We're gonna be displaying the condition of the driver's tires and fuel. We're still going to cover up some of the other telemetry. It just starts to get a little too messy. But you'll be able to see what condition the tires are in for the different cars as we switch back and forth between them. And you'll be able to see how much fuel they've got as well as they go along in the race. We got a formation lap here and then followed by 28 laps of racing. Should be interesting. We've got Turbo on pole, carrying 3% of additional ballast weight. We've got Ace Boy with 1% of ballast doing a nice job in second, locking down second place for the start. Timlor carrying the full 5%. We're going to want to see how he is able to manage that throughout the race. See if he can stick with Turbo and apparently Ace Boy, who's got quite some pace here at Red Bull Ring wet. Moby 4th. General Racing in 5th. It's down to 2% ballast. I believe Moby's at 2% as well. Mo Power in 6th. Led the Iron in 7th. 8th we've got Whitey. The first of the Pro-Ams, Willow, 28. And our second driver in Pro-Am, Race Fan. So it should be an interesting race to see what happens here, see how aggressive drivers are. We may see kind of just a procession of cars at the start. People trying to just keep it together and stay on track. So there's another interesting element that I'll cover about this race. The way the series runs is the organizers typically set the lobby settings to have the cars only carrying about 75 liters of fuel. They made an error in setting up the lobby, which allowed for a full tank, as you can see on the screen. So it'll be interesting to see who takes advantage of that, because there's nothing explicitly in the rules about a mandatory pit stop. Although some drivers are going to assume that, some are going to use that to advantage. Let's see what happens. Here we go. And they're off. Turbo right in the lead. Oh, Ace Boy gets out, loses 2 positions right at the start. They're going wide, going deep into turn 1. So Timlor up to 2nd. Moby up to 3rd. Ace Boy back in 5th. Gentleman Racing hot on his heels. Mo Power at 6th. Everybody else looks like they've held position. Led in 7th. Although he's got Mo Power alongside him. Going into the turn. Tricky conditions. And look at the Cayman wagging its tail. Saying, no, 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 Mustang. Stay back. Whitey in 8th. Race Fan 9th. Willow in 10th. get back up to this mid-pack where we've seen a lot of the action in past races. It seems to be where things are highly pressured. Love the backfire flames on the SLS. Yeah, we're recording these broadcasts on a PS4 Pro, so we've got it running to optimize the graphics. We're not running in 4K. I can't even broadcast in 4K, so it's best to get 1080p and then get all the other little bells and whistles like the backfire and a little bit more detail. Anyway, but I digress. Ace Boy falling back to Moby. Clean Racer getting, Gentleman Racing rather, getting aggressive there, braking late to the turn. Led. More power. Losing out to Led the Iron. Oh, getting very loose into the sand, losing positions all the way down. Oh, down into ninth. There we see it. We see what can happen. He loses a ton of time, falls back to race fan. Whitey now up into 7th. Looking to maybe get a hold of Led the Iron. Catch him up. Let's get back up to the mid-section here. Ace Boy. Be interesting to see if he can hustle that Mercedes back up into a nice finishing position after losing 2 spots right at the start. Interesting that we don't see the kind, I mean it's early yet, only lap 4, but we don't see the kinds of tire wear that we typically see on the dry rubber, the dry racing tires on these wets. Perhaps it's keeping intermediates are, excuse me, easier to keep cool in these conditions. I don't know, but doesn't seem to be much tire wear. Ace Boy is going to be chasing Moby here with no pressure from Gentleman Racing or anyone else behind him. Ace Boy can focus on Led came and gets a penalty to add insult to injury. Sliding around, was able to keep it together. Nicely done. That's impressive. Whitey. Whitey drifting around as well. Oh, these conditions are trickier than they look. Race fan in the Pro-Am category looking to maybe pressure Whitey, who's a pro in the pro category. Whitey's got what, some ballast he's carrying, perhaps 2 or 3%. I really got to work out my broadcasting skills, get things a little bit tighter here so I can give you accurate information. But it's quite the livery on the Ferrari, showing its support for Google. Yeah, custom liveries are important. You know, it's maybe not important to everybody, but adds a nice little extra touch to the races. Don't know if it makes the cars any faster, but Sometimes it feels like it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Speaking of the comments, it's been awful quiet. So what I'd like to say is if you're interested in more than just watching, you may be thinking about joining in, but you're feeling a little bashful, check us out. The series is promoted on GTplanet.net. It's a site with forums for sim racers, and any of a number of different sim racing titles, but obviously primarily Gran Turismo. Although again, there's leagues from all walks of life and in all forms of sims. There's a number of websites out there, but GT Planet is where this is hosted. It's presented by the International Racing Series, which is a group of sim racers who like to promote events and host events such as this. So check us out. Good, clean driving is what it's about. Having fun and competing. I mean, come on, it's racing, right? It's racing. We like racing. And Gentleman Racing now being pressured pretty heavily by lead here. And Ace Boy in turn pressuring Moby quite a bit. Cayman's always in the mix there in the top 5-6 cars. It's a very potent machine. Not a lot of power, but good fuel economy, good tire management, and plenty of pace in a skilled driver's hands to kind of just hang around and make other drivers' lives difficult. And certainly Moby and Led, talented drivers. They're the two drivers in the Cayman. Let's go on board with let's go through the field first. Oh, Timlor getting loose out of turn 1. Gets on the grass. Just caught the end of that, tail end of that. Turbo in first. Timlor grappling and holding on to second. Oh, Argy Bargy. Moby crowding out Ace Boy a little bit there. Probably didn't know he was there. Didn't think Ace Boy was going to make a move that late into the corner. No harm, no foul. Not really anything being done wrong by either driver. Just one of those things that happen. Moby in third. Ace Boy in fourth. Now he goes deep. Oh, and they're side by side. Ace Boy around the outside in the wet. Amazing pass. That might be the move of the day right there. Ace Boy to lock down third place. Now he's going to make a push to try to catch the leaders. And he's not far, so we shall see. So Moby down to fourth. Gentleman Racing in fifth. Led sixth, close behind Gentleman Racing. Seventh, we got Race Fan. Eighth, we've got Mo Power. Ninth, we've got Whitey, possibly having had an off. He was up there in seventh, and rear end of that Corvette is just not very compliant. We got Willow in 10th. Willow is in the Pro-Ams, holding on to 10th place. We've got two Pro-Ams here today. We've got Willow and Race Fan with a nice showing up in 7th. Looks like Mo Power will have something to say about that. One Power's working hard to get back up there with the leaders. He started in 6th. He's down in 8th right now after going and getting off in the sand. Mustangs can be a handful in the wet. You can hear the Ferrari off in the distance trying to get out of town before the Mustang can reel it in. Ace Boy putting a little gap on Moby. Gentleman Racing. A similar size gap. Back to lead. Race Fan holding his own in the Pro-Ams with Mo Power in hot pursuit. There with the leaders. Let's go on board with Tim Law. See what he's dealing with. Again, if you joining us for the first time, this is race 7 of the IRS GT4 Championship. The way the series works is drivers pick up success ballast for finishing 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. They get 3% added weight if they finish 1st, 2% added weight if they finish 2nd, and 1% added weight using the in-game weight adjustment feature. 1% additional weight for a 3rd place. The maximum any driver can accrue in terms of success ballast is 5%. So even if you finish 1st all 10 races, you're never going to go above 5%, which is unusual because what it does is the ballast system brings kind of the drivers closer together in terms of overall pace. It affects tire wear a bit, fuel consumption. So it's a nice way to kind of bring the field together and make each event a little bit of its own little thing with different factors coming into play. That being said, we've got Tim Law, who is a 2-time race winner in the series, carrying a full 5% of success ballast. Now the only way to shed that weight is to finish off the podium, which Tim Law seems to have a hard time doing. He keeps grabbing podium places, 1st, 2nds, 3rds, so he's been carrying 5% for quite a few races now. Up ahead, we've got Turbo in 1st place, who is carrying 3% of additional success ballast after winning in our previous race, which was his 1st appearance. So race 6 was the 1st race where Turbo participated, won the race pretty handily with an unconventional 2-stop strategy, and picked up 3%. So these two drivers are very fast, as you can see, because they're managing to gap the other drivers even with additional weight on them. But Turbo's got the advantage here because he's got 3% as opposed to Tim Law's 5%. Now, if they hold position, what we're going to see happen is the next race at Fuji next week, Monday night, they'll be even an additional weight. I mean, the different cars, so they weigh different anyway, because it's all based off of the Gran Turismo Sport BOP settings for Group 4. We don't call it Group 4 here, we call it the GT4 series, but yeah, so they're gonna both be maxed out on success ballast. slightly different for the two different makes of car. It'll be interesting to see how they make out in Fuji. That's assuming they hold position through the rest of the race. Ace Boy still with a gap on Moby. Moby still maintaining a gap on Gentleman Racing. And Gentleman Racing into the sand. Will this allow lead into the mix? No, it doesn't. Gentleman Racing had opened up a little bit of a gap, so he had a cushion. But those tires will be dirty. He's going to be running wide for probably a whole other lap. He's got to really maintain control of this car here, or he may go off again. Look at that, loses 4 seconds. In that one sector. See how much time he loses overall at the conclusion of this lap. Oof, 5 seconds. I missed the number on the screen there, but it looks like it was at least 5 seconds. I'm close to it. These races go by so quickly, already 12 laps in. I may have mentioned it earlier, but there was an error by the organizers, so we're going to see some folks here run the full race distance without stopping, and others will stop. Again, there was nothing in the rules about it, so drivers are going to do what drivers are going to do, and they're going to take advantage of situations and conditions to try to finish as high as possible. That being said, there will be an official statement by the organizers about the requirement for everyone to stop at least once going forward. Just to spice things up, to see how strategy comes into play. Lots going on. Ballast, tire wear, fuel consumption, pit stops, wet weather. Got to keep it interesting. Keep drivers engaged. See if there are any battles through the field. H-Boy seems to be relatively safe in third. Moby trying to put on a charge to catch him. Gentleman Racing, a little off a couple of laps ago, but held on to fifth. A little bit of a procession thanks to the weather here. Lead in sixth. Low power in seventh. Almost a full length of the straight here behind. Working hard to try to get caught up to lead, get his 6th place back that he started at. Race fan putting on a nice performance in the Pro-Am. He's going to get good points here. Try to catch Kaneda and Willow. Race fans missed a few races. Whitey with damage. Whitey, what happened? Oh, So as you can see, Whitey's got massive engine damage, suspension, and aero here on lap 13. He's got to bring that Corvette in, get it fixed, fuel up, some new tires, and see if we can get back into the mix of things here. Will he pit now? Let's see. Yeah, Whitey brings it in. He's got to. Just short of halfway. Ooh. My apologies for that giant horn sound. Turn the volume up. Let's see. Oh, and race fans a significant distance up on Whitey now due to that. Car's freshened up, but man, that's awful luck for Whitey. Whitey's usually in the mix, up in the top 5, but struggling here in the wet. Timlor in the pits. Turbo stays out. Where's Ace Boy? Ace Boy looking like he's going to slide up into second position. And Moby may also pick up a spot. Let's see where... No, it looks like Timler came out ahead. Looks like Timler came out in third. Still ahead of Moby. But not too far behind Ace Boy. Ace Boy not having pitted, Moby not having pitted, and Mopower yet to pit. Cold tires gets the back end of that Corvette sliding. See Timler on brand new tires. Turbo in the pit. See Ace Boy's got his original tires. Here we are with Turbo. Elects for some new rubber. A little bit of fuel, no damage to repair, and he's out. Getting out quick service. In and out. Holds on to first. Flag to flag lead so far. Well, we haven't got the second flag yet, but if he holds on to it, it's green to the checkers without ever losing first. On board with Timberland now, trying to catch Ace. Ace running it deep. We're gonna stay with Timlor for a while here. Oh, he runs wide. If he keeps that up, he's in danger of Moby catching him. Where's Moby? Oh, he's not far at all. This gentleman. All right, let's run through the field again. Turbo in first. Ace Boy holding down second. Nice gap to Timlor. Third. Fourth, Moby. Ways back now is Gentleman Racing. Mo Power in sixth. Impressive work by Mo Power to get back up to sixth after having dropped back to ninth when he went off into the sand. Led seventh. Race Fan in eighth. Whitey took some repairs, moved tires, a little fuel. It's in ninth. Very unfortunate. Gentleman Racing now in the pits. In and out. Relatively quickly. Oh, and Let the Iron comes right up on him. Gentleman Racing goes defensive, stays inside. Good, clean racing. They're still side by side. Led gets the nose ahead. Gentleman Racing goes deep. Oh, a little love tap. Led was looking for the over and under there, and Gentleman Racing kind of parked it on the apex. No damage, no harm, no foul. Oh, hold on to it, Led. Led pulls it off. It's by Gentleman Racing. Gentleman Racing down to 7. Will he mount a charge? He's got the new tires. This is intriguing. Gentleman Racing on new tires that are gold, and Led on old tires, but they'd be up to temperature. And obviously still some good pace, as we can see. Gentleman Racing with more fuel as well, so a bit heavier of a car. He's carrying ballast. Maybe he's finally got those tires up to temp. Running some nice lines. Oh, and he gets gets the back end slippy. Possibly an effect of the aero wash that the game simulates. A lot of people say it doesn't. They don't sense it, but I certainly do. I did there. Yeah, that's yours truly, 7th place there, Gentleman Racing. Struggling to stay with lead, despite fresh tires. Gentleman Racing misjudges lead speed into the corner there. Almost rear ends lead. Loses a little momentum. Taking a nice tight line through the turns here. Eager to get doesn't look like Led's planning a pit stop anytime soon. It looks like he's got enough fuel to make it the distance. And the tires don't seem too worse for the wear here, considering he's able to hold off Gentleman Racing. Let's take a look at his tires. Yeah, they're not terrible. They've got Willow up ahead in 10th. They're going to have to contend with, looks like Mopower is already by Willow. Oh, and they're side by side. No, not side by side. Gentleman Racing tries to cut back. Board with Gentleman Racing here. See more power up ahead. Oh, and Willow runs wide. Keeps it out there to avoid impacting these two guys. Yeah, perhaps Willow thinking he's going to get out of the way there. At least hopefully it was not something that was involuntary. I don't like to see that. You know, in this series it's the overtaking driver's responsibility to do it safely, so Willow's certainly not under any responsibility to have to get off the racing line there. But the gesture is certainly appreciated. Gentleman Racing just cannot seem to make any headway. Cars and drivers evenly matched in these conditions and in this situation. Gentleman Racing looked like he was helped by, oh, and he gets a little aggressive over the curb, loses more momentum, and Led able to just pull away. that allows lead to just pull away a bit. Yeah, you can see the gap opened right up. Mo power. Looks like lead may be reeling Mo power in a little bit here too. Let's check on the leaders. Oh, Mo power getting slidey there. Turbo still in first with a healthy lead over Ace Boy, who's holding down second place. Again, took advantage of the situation, didn't pit. Tim Lord did, however, so he's a ways back. Well, not too far. Maybe in the next 6 laps he'll be able to close the gap. You can see Ace Boy's tires have got wear. He's got a quarter tank of fuel. Should be enough to get him through the next 6 laps. Whereas Tim Lord, a little bit more fuel, but brand new tires. Moby, no stop, one would assume. No power, no pit stop either. Lead, no pit stop. And Gentleman Racing did stop, took new tires. And maybe was not the way to go. It's struggling on those new tires. Got Race Fan in 8th, ahead of Whitey, back in 9th, and Willow in 10th. Remember that Race Fan and Willow are in the Pro-Am division. Race Fan, in terms of points in the Pro-Ams, which is a championship title within the series, Race Fan can use this nice haul of points to reel in Willow, who's got is neck and neck with Kanita, who's not here today. So Kanita losing out on points, Willow grabbing some points, and Race Fan maximizing it within the Pro-Am division. And maybe he'll reel in those guys, and we'll have a 3-way battle towards the end of the season. Certainly that's what we want. We want Pro-Ams in here competing with one another, and maybe even finishing ahead of some of the pros, as in this situation. Got Race Fan ahead of Whitey quite a ways. You know, unfortunate for Whitey that he took all that damage, had to stop, and lost a ton of time, and just a race to forget for Whitey, who's a very good competitor, consistently in the top 5 in previous races. So we certainly wish him better luck at Fuji. Just hopefully he can make the most of in terms of points here. There are 10 races in the series. 10 races. There's 2 drop races, so perhaps this will be one of Whitey's drop races. So we tally all the points from 8 out of the 10 races. Drivers can drop their lowest scoring performances, and then that's how we kind of reconfigure, recalculate the championship standings. It hasn't been done yet. We're not, the championship hasn't concluded, but we'll update you going into race 10 what the championship point situation are and what the implications are. Lap 25 of 29. Turbo with a healthy lead over Ace Boy, who's got to hold off Tim Lore if he wants to secure those second place points. These three drivers, only Turbo will be picking up success ballast. He'll pick up 2. He would really pick up 3, but 5 being the max, and he's already at 3. He's going to get maxed on success ballast for the next race. Ace Boy will pick up 2 percentage points of success ballast, which should make race 8 interesting for him. Tim Lore is maxed out, so he won't pick up any, although a 3rd place finisher typically picks up 1 percentage point. And everybody else who's got ballast or who's carrying ballast in this race will shed 1 percentage point. So race 8 is looking to be shaping up to be a really good one with a serious shift in success ballast for a number of drivers. Mopower's got a decent lead, decent gap back to lead, and lead's got a nice gap back to Gentleman Racing. Gentleman Racing, for having pitted and taken on new rubber, just really struggled to get the tires working for them. Just could not make a move on lead. As Gentleman Racing came out of the pit, lead was right on him. Got by in the couple corners later, and that was the end of it. Nice drive by lead. Gentleman Racing's gonna be scratching his head back in the garage, wondering what happened. Maybe a no stopper was in order. But again, typically we've, as the organizers, we've forced a pit stop through setting the fuel to 75% or 75 liters. A mistake was made. Everybody started on full tanks, so some drivers took advantage of that. Nothing explicit in the... Oh! Gentleman Racing, keep it off the... Oh, and he keeps it off the barriers. Quickly trying to regain without re-entering dangerously. Oh, loses tons of time. Willow 28 gets by, but he's getting a lap back. Willow's back in 10th. So no position loss for Gentleman Racing there. And it looks like Race Fan is far back enough that Gentleman Racing's not under any threat of losing a position. Very fortunate there not to lose a position to anyone else. The weather really spread the field out enough. And he must have lost 15, 16 seconds there. Hopefully he's got control and there's no red mist coming down on him. So those tires are going to be very, very dirty. If they were bad before, they're going to be even worse now. Yep, keeps it together. He misses the apex, but keeps it together. Looks like the only potential position we may have a battle for would be for second here, with Tim Lord chasing down Ace Boy. Ace Boy pulling a no-stop strategy and doing a magnificent job to hold on to his qualifying position of second place. Very nicely done. Although he may... I don't think he'll regret grabbing the points. Points are always good, but that success ballast, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt next week. Runs it awfully deep into there. See Tim Lord lurking back there. Trying to grab that third spot off of Ace Boy. Second spot, rather. Second position. Running out of time here with 2 laps left. Running out of fuel. Can Ace Boy finish the race on this fuel level? One would hope so. How's Tim Lord on fuel? Tim Lord is about the same. So is Turbo. Moby looks to be doing fine. Mo Power. That Mustang's thirsty, but he's looking good. Love the Iron looking good on fuel. The Cayman is a very fuel efficient car. Gentleman Racing, plenty of fuel, but picked up a small penalty. Oof. Very frustrating day for Gentleman Racing. Ooh, we get into it with Willow. Willow runs wide. Willow runs wide, probably in consideration for Gentleman Racing. You can probably see the red mist falling over Gentleman Racing from the cockpit of that NSX, saying, "I'm going to stay clear of this guy. He's angry." And it's right on board here on the final lap. On board with Turbo, starting the final lap. There you have it, your winner, R1600 Turbo, gonna pick up the hat trick, the race win, fastest lap, and pole position. Impressive. Ace Boy holds on to his qualifying position, finishes second. Tim Law finishing third. Moby just entering the final corner. Looks like he's gonna drift his way into fourth. That was nice. Nicely done, Moby. Fifth, looks like Mo Power's gonna bring it home for fifth place. After starting in sixth, falling back, and then fighting his way back. Nicely done on the no-stop strategy. Nicely done. Sixth, we're gonna have Led the Iron. Looks like he was reeling Mo Power in, but ran out of time. Nicely done. Seventh, Gentleman Racing. Tried the one-stop strategy, didn't work out for him. After starting fifth, he drops down to seventh. Not to mention the off he had at about lap 25, which certainly cost him quite a bit of time. Even then, though, he couldn't contend with what Led the Iron was able to do in terms of lap times. Even though Gentleman Racing took new tires at the stop. Race Fan in the Pro-Ams comes in first among the Pro-Ams, picks up 8 points for 8th place. Hopefully keeps that up, and he'll spice up the Pro-Am Championship. Whitey in 9th, tough race. Again, maybe he'll just use it as a drop race, but comes in 9th.